Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blow the Whistle podcast. We're back for a NFL special.
First one on video as well.
Oh, for real, yes. As we said, this is our first video podcast. Vodcast? A vodcast?
Let's just call it
We're
video.
You'll see our faces.
Do you know what I just realized?
You'll see this sexy face and then this guy. But anyway, we're back, baby.
Don't try to scoot.
We're back, baby.
I just realized I can't do my wandering eyes or funny hands.
Oh, your mannerisms. Oh, yeah, so, by the way, this is Yannick Noir or Yan versus Food, or actually, I'm not going to say my bias because I don't want you to find me. I have many ads, and I'm with this Blanca. Go on, introduce yourself, tell the people who you are.
King_Terrella.
With the mannerisms, the hand gestures. I remember I listened to him on the Pink Matter podcast. Shout out you girls on the podcast. Hear many mannerisms. I may have to close that because it's just loud. Go on, carry on.
Oh yeah, and we got the green in the back. Also 4 Point Play.
Yes.
Follow us at 4 Point Pod. That's purely basketball, strictly basketball, nothing but basketball.
Our fellow sports podcasters. Do you know what? We're just going to shout out every pod. What pod do you listen to?
Obviously, Touchline Fracas, Broadwaters.
Yes, Broadwaters, 20-something podcasts. I'm not even ashamed to say it. I listen to the Receipts podcast. I take a lot of enjoyment out of hearing about women's heartache and the way they've been treated like trash. I love that. It's my drug. Oh.
You enjoy it. You know what? I'm just getting
shameless muscle pulls. Anyway, let's get into this. This is our NFL draft special. And we've come to realise that, it's coming of April. April always means draft month. So right now, it's coming up to the NFL draft. And for those who don't know, the NFL draft is a selection process in which NFL teams get to pick from a pool of talented college athletes. If I want to describe the draft, it is pretty much a long-winded interview process. You go to university. You spend however many years playing.
I believe it's 2 to 3 years.
It's minimum. You can't come out as a freshman, can you? That's the minimum of 2 years. Minimum of 2 years. You got to pay a minimum of 2 years, I think, to be eligible for the draft. And you can go as far as your whole college career. Even you could even enter the draft way after you've graduated. But yes, you can. Because I'm sure you can. Once you can only enter the draft once.
So once I graduate from...
You don't have to graduate, but you can go back. And if you leave college early and go to the NFL, go to the pros, you can go back and graduate afterwards.
But then, suppose I do that. So if I declare for the draft, don't get drafted, can I go back to college?
Yeah, but you won't be... If you don't get drafted, you don't get a chance to the draft again. You're going to have to...
go for undrafted free agent.
Unsigned free agent. So, yes, just longest year. So like I was talking about, you go to university and then you graduate, or sometimes you leave early. And you enter the process of being, scouted, I guess?
Well, it's not really... you're scouted throughout the year, every game you play in. And then you have the combine, the interviews.
Combine, pro days. Obviously, for the combine, let's just get it clear. Not everyone's invited to the combine. Not all college players aren't invited to the combine. No, some don't make it. For some of them maybe either not, recognised enough, don't get enough attention. Some of them are banned because of, let's say, they committed, some sort of frowned upon thing. But remember the new rules in NFL. If you are a college student and you're charged with or arrested for, I think, domestic violence, you're not eligible for the draft. So that's another thing. There's reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why players don't make it to the draft. But number one reason is some of them just aren't good enough to make it there. So you get regional combines, let's say the Southeast, where the players who didn't get invited to the draft, if they go to the combine, can go to the regional combines and whatnot. But anyway, we're getting into too much heat over that. So let's just say it's the longest process. You've got the combine, regional combines, you've got the pro days. After the pro days, you've got in between the combine and the pro days, you've got interviews, and then after that, you've got the actual NFL draft itself. And as I said, not everyone gets picked, but it's almost like a selection process of all the 32 NFL teams. And as we know, in American sports, the draft is where it's supposed to be. The worst performing teams always get the first picks, and the better performing teams get their picks at the end of the round. So,
that's obviously then you have teams that have traded.
Yes, and that's when things get
traded their picks away. Then
you'll realize that some teams have more picks than others in each round, and that's due to trades, like you said, trades and whatnot. So, you know what? We kind of we're just talking a bit too much now. Let's just actually start explaining the process. So, as an NFL team, the draft is your chance to pick from a pool of talented young college stars. So, It's your chance to pick raw talent. Talent you probably think will change the way your team plays. I guess it's a chance for you to pick pieces that you need to address the holes in your team. I guess it's not always easy because the draft process isn't. It's not like it's not a certainty.
No,
teams miss a lot. Some teams historically miss a lot. Some teams are better.
I mean, if you look at it, the way teams draft in the NFL, it's how am I going to put this? You don't necessarily pick your best talents. I mean, we're going to go into this in a lot more detail in a bit, but it's like when you have you may be first, but then where you're going to pick, you have to set like, okay, you have your big board. So every team has a big board. So let's think about it. That wall behind, let's say we have this big wall behind us, and we have plan A, plan B, plan C, and they have it for. They have literally.
They have a big board. It's like they have a big board. It's almost you got all your contingency. You got your first choices and all your contingencies in place.
Your backup to your backup.
Biggest example. We all watched All or Nothing, the Cardinals documentary, and the Cardinals. Was it year before last, right?
Year before last.
Yeah. So they wanted to pick. Was it Amir Abdullah? Amir Abdullah, the place Lions running back who's succumbed to so many injuries, hasn't lived up to potential. That was their first, their original pick for that round. Running back we picked in the first round was Abdullah, and he was picked by the Lions just before them. And obviously sometimes you sense a little panic in their voice because that was their guy. But then obviously once they calmed down, they looked on the board and you know what? Like David Johnson is our second pick at the position. They've picked him, and now David Johnson is probably one of the best NFL running backs at this moment in time.
Question though, as a player, how do you play for a team that didn't want you?
Boy, we've seen players. Look at Eli Manning, drafted by the Chargers.
Yeah,
and he didn't want to play for them.
No, but it's like I'm Terrell Kent.
Yeah.
6'3", 260, defensive end.
Is it 60?
260.
I'm 235 now.
235.
Yeah.
Is that my big mouth? Maybe
235 now.
Yeah. So imagine now I get drafted by the Giants.
Yeah.
But I know the Giants wanted you.
Yeah, but as a professional, you just gotta bite your lip, bite your tongue, and then just get on with it. Because at the end of the day, you've been given a job. A job is gonna pay you millions. Fair enough, you may not be your choice, but that's the harsh reality of things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The person they picked, somebody else wanted, and then you're their second pick. Fair enough, you went there first, and you're gonna have a stank attitude that you probably profess in interviews with other teams you profess you don't have. And then, start throwing this if it's like a child, you're going to be a pro about it, set that you've been picked by this team, giving you a job, going to pay you millions of dollars, and then get on with it.
No, fair enough. But
speaking of money as well, a lot of people forget that, as I said, you're being hired for a job in essence.
Yeah.
So, depending on where you get picked, like you just said, your money changes.
Yeah, because what many people don't know is, actually some people may, but they don't know the ins and outs. Where you get drafted depends on, your contract depends on it. For example, Zeke is 24 million guaranteed because he got drafted top 4. Dak in the 4th round, he's got about 2 million guaranteed. And it's like, that's why if you're first round, let's say first top 10 or first 15 pick, and you drop down to the late first, early seconds, you lose money. That's why it's such a big deal.
Look at Laramie Tunsil from projected at number 5. And then obviously that video of him smoking weed over in that mask surfaced just before he was getting picked, and he dropped all the way to 13 to the Dolphins, and that cost him $8 million. Do you know what I mean? So you drop down, you can drop down the draft for various reasons, for character issues, maybe you had a bad combine or pro day, or something from a past has surfaced, to question your character, or teams maybe you have watched tape and realize, maybe you're not as good as we think you are, and your stock drops down. So you can go from, let's say, top 5 pick to a late round pick, and you've lost millions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what's also so funny? So suppose in this draft, who's number 1? The Browns.
The Browns have the first pick, and they've also got the 12th pick. So their 2 picks, 1 and 12, are going to be paid differently.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett is projected to go first overall, and they could go get, so let's say someone they can get a QB like Deshaun Watson at 12.
But it doesn't, to be honest, if you look at Deshaun Jackson's, his talent, his pedigree in the college game, he could have easily been, his talent is top. Did you say top 5, top 10?
He's top 10 talent, 100%. I think if the reason why he can go top 5. I'm saying he can go top 5, top 6, but teams would be a reach for him to go there. He could be the first quarterback off the board. because he has the talent there. But obviously, college talent transcends into NFL. That's another thing. That talent in college doesn't always transcend to NFL, and it's most evident in the NFL space all other sports because there's we talked about this the other day, whereas some position is harder to make that transition because you come up against a different set, and then this guy's phone ring. Can you imagine? Fella's gonna have to get up and go and get his phone. This is unprofessional.
It is really
unprofessional. Can you believe this?
It's not.
Anyway, yeah, some positions it's harder to make the transition from some positions to others. So for example, O-lineman, teams rarely get it wrong with O-lineman because the transition from being a college O-lineman to offensive lineman to an NFL offensive lineman, it's not as hard as, let's say, the transition from a college cornerback to an NFL cornerback.
Oh, yeah, because if you look at it, when you're, let's say, a college lineman, you're already big. You're already you're athletic. So the only thing that pros have over you is that experience and that know-how, the little tricks they can get away with. Like, if I do that to you, if I like nick you like that, it will affect you.
Yeah.
Ignore that. That's just my problem. Whoever it is, they can just bug off. So it's like, because you play football.
Yeah.
And on the defensive line, there's some guys that probably played for quite a while.
Yeah.
That be able to, like, I don't know, pull your finger or just do some
that's
little
the
tricks
thing.
to throw you off.
I can say, for example, I use an example. I'm not trying to boast here, but I come up in the line. So I play as edge rusher. I can see already what the lineman in front of me is going to do. So, for example, I come up against a rookie lineman. He's very talented. He's very athletic. But I know I can use my experience to beat him because he doesn't have the know-how. He doesn't understand what it's like to come up against a guy who's played years in, year out. I come up against a pro, probably older, not as athletic, but he has like the kind of presence to use the right moves against my speed, my strength. It'll be hard for him because he knows what to do to get away with it. He can just either quick jab to slow me down, or probably pull me down so referee don't see me. The rookie may not know that. Do you know what I mean? It's still a transition, but that's pretty much. That's like what's missing. That's what O-linemen, I think, probably the hardest for them is just the experience playing against seasoned pros. Do you know what I mean? That's where they make the biggest change. But cornerback's a whole different set of things. You're seeing a more complicated offensive playbook. So you're coming against teams who play complicated packages. You're used to seeing spread offenses as cornerback. And you come to the NFL, you've got different schemes. Do you know what I mean? West Coast offenses. Do you know what I mean? You've got you'll see formations you've never seen before, and you're seeing players play. You're seeing let's say tight ends play out wide as receivers, or you're seeing let's say slot receivers or running backs playing as slots, and it's completely different to what you see in the pro. So they've got a complete transition, and plus the game is so much faster on the outside in the NFL than it is in college. Coming against faster, stronger receivers. Do you know what I mean? So that's another thing that. Affects, like say, that affects the picks for my picking players because these teams know that they know that not all skills can get can transcend to the NFL. So they watched game tape, they interview these players, and then they do all of those things to make sure they get it right. But sometimes they still get it wrong. Like we said, teams historically get it wrong. Teams like the Browns.
No, the Browns they don't get. Sometimes I feel like they're paid to get it wrong because since '99. They've had about 20 plus QBs start for them. I mean, obviously last year that was just funny because every other week, someone was getting injured. But before last year, it was just disaster after disaster at the QB position, at the cornerback position, at the wide receiver position. It's just how can you get it wrong so many times?
That's the thing. And then it's like this year they have how many picks they got? 6 picks in the first 4 rounds. Yeah, 6 picks in the first 4 rounds. They got 2 in the first, 2 in the second. And you look at this and think, this is your chance for you to build. Okay, cool. You've got Jamie Collins as your top acquisition from the year gone. They just signed him to a multi-year contract. I think he's the second best paid linebacker in the league right now. So you still got they keep on Joe Thomas, the tackle. They kept him, right?
Yeah.
See, Joe Thomas, and you got Joe Hayden like cornerback. So you've got pieces there. They've let go of RG3, so they look basically there, and they let go of he got cut. So really and truly, you're looking at the same picking. Cool. In years gone by, you wasted your picks on quarterbacks. You know what I mean? But now you're looking at do they go after? They know that what people have been saying is this isn't the draft for the Browns to be a franchise QB, but someone like Deshaun Watson is on the board. Do they ignore Deshaun Watson and focus on position key skill areas like let's say outside edge rusher? Another cornerback, or maybe even a receiver. At their best, looking at it, they get no one doubts they're going to get Garrett at number 1. Garrett is the edge
Game
rusher.
changer.
Game changing. You've got edge rusher and play in front of Jamie Collins, and you got Joe Thompson at the back. So you've kind of addressed all three key areas of defense. What do you do now? Do you get help for all three, for one of them, either the secondary, your linebacking core, or your front line, or do you got offense and just maybe get someone like Deshaun Watson, or go for someone like OJ Howard, just to give you a few more weapons on offense, because you're already bringing back Josh Gordon. Do you know they've like?
But then the thing is, with someone like Josh Gordon, he's a maverick talent, but you don't know what you're going to get.
That's the thing.
So it's like he could come back, but then he'd be suspended in the next 4 games. But if you get someone like Mike Williams with the 12th pick, or you pick up an OJ Howard if he's still there. So I agree. You don't pick up Deshaun Watson if you're the Browns in the first round. What you do is, because you need to build a team for a QB to come and play in.
Yeah.
If you look at Aaron Rodgers, for example, you don't just throw a quality QB like Aaron Rodgers into any else. Actually, no, that's a bad example.
Andrew Luck.
Because Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man. He's done some.
We've seen.
Just off topic, talking about him, I saw this clip today. So it was like he was tackled, so he had his legs taken out from him,
and he still threw
it for a touchdown. And I watched it, and I just literally walked out of the room because I was just thinking, how?
Aaron Rodgers is one of those generational talents where teams where he was another player. He got picked for the 24th.
Yeah, he was meant to go first.
He was meant to go top 5 pick. I think Alex Smith was one who got picked over him at like 49ers. Yeah. So he ended up going to the Packers 22. He's become pretty much going to go down, arguably one of the best quarterback quarterbacks regular season, because of Tom Brady, regular season quarterbacks ever. Do you know what I mean?
But that's why I'm saying, and that feeds into 2 points. Number one, you don't pick a QB unless you have a team for him to come and succeed in.
Can I just ask you, as a say you're a GM?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about GMs, which we're going to switch from GMs in the next section. Do you go for the best available talent, or do you address your issues?
The best talent that fits my team needs, which is a bit of a... It's not even an oxymoron.
That's a cop-out.
It's not, because if I need a defensive lineman, like if I need, pass rushers, or I need a linebacker, but there's a generational QB already there, but I already have a good QB, I'll go get the linebacker.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. If the Houston Texans are picking number 1 overall, who did they go for? They don't need either. They've got 2 great edge rushers already.
So what you do? Now, if it was me,
probably that's another thing.
No. I want to flip it. So what I do, if I have the number 1 pick right now, and I'm the Houston Texans, who are a quarterback away from a Super Bowl challenge, I flip that first round pick.
There you go. I was going to say that teams also. So you get teams who have, let's say, the first round pick, and the best talent on the board right there isn't somebody they need. Their best opportunity probably in there is either do not take him anyway, because you can never have too many pieces, or they can be smart and trade away that pick to a team who desperately wants that player. So it's just the Texans were number 1 overall, and they've already got 2 good edge rushers in JJ Watt and Jadavion Clowney. You know what I mean? So 2 of their best edge rushers about. And Myles Garrett is the best talent on the board, and I'm by miles away. No pun intended. So they'll probably trade it to a team who needs an edge rusher. Like Packers, probably a team that needs an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they probably trade away to the Packers for, let's say, a number 1 pick the next year, or the year after that, or a number 1 pick. The Packers is second round pick this year, and a couple number 1s. So, you can always trade. Like remember RG3?
Oh yeah,
the Redskins. The Redskins traded to the Rams. How many picks was it? It was something like 2 first rounders.
They mortgaged the next 4 years. But when I say mortgage, basically means giving up a ton of picks.
And the thing is, after the first season, everyone thought, you know what, it's going to work out for them, because RG3 was Rookie of the Year.
Had an amazing
rookie season. It was this close from taking the Redskins into the division round, but then
injury. It's never been the same.
Never been the same.
I think, and another thing as well, what people don't realize is by trading back, they've saved money. Yeah. So rather than giving one player that first rep, that number 1 pick, or number 5
mil or whatever,
you've come down a couple of.
You come down. You go all the way to the. Let's say in this scenario, the Texans switch to the Packers, and then the Packers are like the 25th pick overall. Come all the way down to the 25th pick. That's what your pick is now. Do you know what I mean? You pay that guy, let's say, 10 mil, 8 mil. And then obviously you use whatever picks you get after that. You're not paying them much, so you kind of reduce your salary cap because you've got space and focus on free agency. Maybe not this year or the year after. It's just all Football is such a NFL is a training sport because we're going to talk about GMs now. Because realistically, the masterminds behind all these kind of actually it's normally the GMs. Most teams have a coach and a GM, and it's important that the coach and the GM are on the same page. It's important that if the coach sees it as this is a division for this team, he needs to have a GM behind him who thinks the same. Like someone like Sashi Brown, who is the Browns GM, doesn't really have NFL experience. We've seen that in the work he did with Brock Osweiler. Do you know what I mean?
No, but that was a very good trade.
But it didn't work though. It didn't work. Fair enough, they got a second rounder for him, right? They got him and a second rounder. Yeah. But they took on the financial hit they had because the Browns have got so much.
So they could swallow that 16, dump that off, and then when next year comes around, they can. Think is the Browns are really in a win-win. They've got a decent QB. I mean, Brock Osweiler's not gonna win you. Take you to the playoffs.
Unless he could be the starter for them come this season.
And then if it doesn't work out, chuck him to the side. It'll be better for them to have, because if you think about it right now, Hugh Jackson needs one QB to be able to stay healthy throughout the season so he can build
around
his team. But when you're constantly changing your quarterback week after week after
it's hard to keep on game planning for. That's definitely, we're going to talk about it in another podcast because it's hard to keep planning for QBs. Because teams, especially offenses, have set systems. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The team has a set system for a quarterback, so that means all your protections, your calls, your cadence, relationship with the receivers, with the running back. It's all in sync with that quarterback. Once you change that quarterback, it all changes. Everything has to change. The cadence, the call has to change. The protections have to change. Your timing has to change. The relationship with the receivers, everything has to change because that quarterback's different. Things are going let's say, from a left-handed quarterback to a right-handed quarterback. That completely changes everything. Now you've got to switch your protection. Now your right tackle is protecting your blind transfer to the left tackle. It's just so people, and I think a lot of people who don't follow the sport as in depth as we do, don't understand these things. So it's hard for a team like the Browns to build unless they have a future QB. If they got Brock Osweiler as a QB, they still can't build around him because they're trying to pick draft players for a specific QB which they don't have yet. So why not just take a Deshaun Watson? If you're Sashi Brown, you're the GM. You know that Hugh Jackson is one of the best coaches at developing young talent. You and Jackson have the same vision. Luckily, you're one of the lucky teams whose GM and the team have the same vision. It's not like the Colts. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, let's say, other teams where the GM sees completely different. It's not like the bloody Jets. Do you know what I mean? It's so important for your GM and the coach because you're able to build a team with a bit more accuracy as opposed to seeing it completely different. You've seen the movie Draft Day.
Yeah.
That's a fine example of a GM and a coach not being on the same page and how hard it is to build, a team, a legacy. Do you know what I mean? A dynasty. Obviously, in some cases, you have coaches who are, in charge of personnel, like Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's because I don't think that we're going to see another coach like Bill Belichick where he can literally just plug players into his system, and it works and it ticks over. But I mean, you have a very good point in terms of GMs and coaches because people feel that the coaches need to pick this player. The coaches literally have no. I won't say they have little to no say in many cases because the GM's like, okay, this is the place I've gotten for you. Make it work. Make it play. I mean, if you watch football, when I say football, I mean soccer. When you watch that, you see the manager is the one that says, "I want to buy this player. I want to buy that player."
That's how you see things like sport directors in football, which are the equivalent of GMs in the NFL.
Which we could be approaching a time in football where that comes. But
it's not another question. We've had it before, but we've like I said, we've seen how how important it is for a team, a coach, and a GM to go. Because the GM literally is involved in the whole scouting process. He's involved in planning what's going to happen over the next year. He's involved in things like he's in charge of free agency. Obviously, he has to liaise, work with the coach at the same time, but he has to have the team, let's say a 5-year plan for the team in place. Maybe sometimes even a 10-year plan, where they know where they're going and what they need. And this is another thing as well. The GM has to react to what's going on in the division. So the funny thing is about the draft is teams tend to react to what's going on in the division. They don't care about the rest of the league. There's 3 other teams in the divisions that they're playing for. If your team, let's say the Bears, the team you're facing, you're going to face Aaron Rodgers 2 times a year. Packers are the best team in the division. What you do, you build a team that's ready to kind of defeat his, and go against, break down his strengths. So you start doing, drafting, outside linebackers, edge rushers, and you start drafting top cornerbacks why? Because you're trying to win your division. You know what I mean? That's another thing that draft people don't forget that. But the teams draft to try and win the division. Obviously, in the NFL, you win the division, you make playoffs, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So your task is to try and win your division. But we're kind of like gone on like this sort of get too much. Let's quickly go and talk about we're gonna go for each top 10 team and address their needs. We talked about the Browns already. We're not really going to talk about them. We know where their needs are. They have a lot of needs, so we talked about them. And number 2, 49ers. They need the QB. They need
weapons for that QB.
Yeah, they need to protect the QB.
Which means they need an offensive line for the QB.
They need to be able to. They need to.
They need to rush the pass.
Rush the passer. So they need to rush at the end or outside. Outside linebacker.
They need to defend the. God.
It's crazy. We're talking about Chip Kelly's gone now, isn't it?
It's Kyle Shanahan.
Flipping out. Chip Kelly has been sacked. He's been sacked from his second NFL team. You know what I mean? He was another one of those coaches who thought it can change the whole NFL.
Yeah, because Chip Kelly was a college coach. A college mastermind. But that shows it's not only players, coaches as well.
Yeah,
bringing the college game into the pros.
It's not easy.
It's a
transition.
So, I mean, for the 49ers, where do you start? You don't get a QB.
You don't. You don't get a QB because the QB you need isn't in this draft. They're probably going to Kirk Cousins, right? And they're going to get him. Yeah. They're probably going to get Kirk Cousins because Shanahan's worked with Cousins before. Probably going to take Kirk Cousins in the free agents. They could because the Redskins are rebuilding again as well themselves. Yeah. So. Like, you don't really go for QB in this draft. The QB you want isn't in this draft. So
they've already got Mike Glenn. No, not like that's the Bears jumping ahead.
So they're probably going to go after. I got him in my top 10. That's going off Solomon Thomas, defensive end. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The second best rusher in this draft. Probably not spoken about as much as Myles Garrett because obviously Myles Garrett is that great. Do you know what I mean? So that's the 49ers. As for the Bears, the third, they got needs.
They need DBs, they need weapons for the QB, these teams are
broken.
Shattered.
Because they got rid of Cutler.
Thank God.
They got Mike Glennon, which isn't going to be a long-term answer, called a quick fix thing, so they're not going to draft QB either. This isn't the season for them to draft QB. They're going to get DBs. They got the thing. This is probably one of the best drafts for DBs in a long time. We've got at least 4, maybe 5 in the top 15 picks, 6 sometimes probably in the top 15 picks.
Wow.
That can go to the top 15. That's how talented this draft DBs. And a lot of people say Jamal Adams is the best DB in this class.
The safety.
Jamal Adams, they say he's the best DB in this class. And you've even got, Marshall Lattimore, who's also regarded as the best CB, the best cornerback in this class. So they kind of spot the choice. They've already got, the Bears have a good defense already. They've got a good young defense already. But do you add pieces to that, or do you go for, let's say, get Chapman to the QB, or would you go for someone like OJ Howard, who's going to be really bad? But at 3, OJ Howard is a rich at 3. Even no matter how talented he is, you're not drafting the tight end at number 3.
Nah, you don't go for. I think again, it's good. You have to just build from the line back. I mean, there was this guy that I knew that I used to work with.
Yeah,
he was actually a 49ers fan, and he said the traditional way, the smartest way to build a team is from the line back, whether that's from the defensive line back.
Because everything's won in the trenches. The game really. My philosophy is the game is won in the trenches.
You're saying that because you play?
Yeah, but to be honest, whatever happens, whatever does or doesn't happen in the line and the trenches affects anything either side of the ball. If you can't rush, if you can't put pressure on the quarterback, it helps. It messes up your DBs. Your DBs have to be that much better. Do you know what I mean? If you can get to the quarterback, your DBs don't have to be great. Do you know what I mean? On the flip side, if you can't protect your quarterback, you can't do anything on offense, no matter how good he is.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? Everything is won in the trenches, so you build from the trenches back. So with the Bears, what are you saying? They've got a decent line already, though. It isn't great, but they've got a decent defense. But I think that's what it is. It's just decent.
So then, if that's the case, you build on the offensive side of the ball then, because then what you do, you need to keep that defense off the field. It's kind of like what the Cowboys do very well.
Every time you mention the Cowboys fight, you could be wearing a hat right now. You could have wearing a helmet every time you went to the car, but you messed up. Anyway, carry on.
I'm not even sure if I'm going to let you upload this video. I just realised there was one point where I was dancing, so I'm not even sure that I want this video uploaded.
You're going to say you signed a contract, innit?
I'll speak to my lawyer about
Anyway.
But no, I think if you give weapons to either a quarterback that you're going to draft, you're going to sign a free agency, or one that you will draft, you then say, okay, you know what? I've got the quarterback. I've built the offense that I need. Now let me upgrade my defense, because their offense is woeful.
Horrendous.
So because your offense is woeful, your defense is always on the field. As we saw in that,
did they trade down then? And go for Howard at a lower pick, but then whether he's not available, if you want to trade down, go for Howard at a lower pick, or even if anything, Mike Williams. They just lost Alshon Jeffries, right?
Yeah.
So
trade down, get some more picks in this draft and next year's draft that allows you to build more. Yeah, I think
they really got a good running back. They said they got a short-term fix at QB.
Yeah,
they're not winning anything this year. Let's put that. The Bears aren't winning anything this year, but they're a young team where in about 3 or 4 years, they could be a contender in the AFC. For number 4, the Jaguars. A very young team
that needs to change their QB.
But they're not going to change the QB this year. This isn't the draft. This isn't the draft where you go for another. This isn't the time for them to go for a franchise QB. New coach. They got a talented team already. They got Jalen Ramsey.
Very talented.
They got Yannick. They got a Yannick as a rusher. Not this Yannick, but another Yannick. Bing, bing. But anyway, they've got talent on defense
and offense.
So running back, Leonard Fournette.
Is Leonard Fournette
too high? I got him as number 4. I got him number 4 in my top 10 mock draft.
Trade back.
How far though?
Probably still within the first round, but I don't think we pick up Leonard Fournette, especially for the amount of yards that he built up at LSU.
Because they got Robinson and Ivory right now. They're running backs, right? So
TJ Yeldon.
Oh yeah, they got Yeldon.
Robinson's the wide receiver.
Wide receiver, yeah.
So I just feel like
the thing. The problem is the QB. That's honestly, they're QB away from being a decent team. But you don't draft QB.
But what's their O-line saying? Because it could be a case if you build on their O-line, get a better protection. Because I know TJ Yeldon had a good first year. He fell off a bit last year. If you build and improve the O-line, that allows you to game manage, run the ball, and don't get the ball away and out of the hands from that calamity.
This isn't a draft where you get those top talent O-linemen. It's literally a defense heavy top 10.
That's why I say
trade back. Okay, cool. Number 5, the Tennessee Titans. They picked from the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams. That is, but yeah.
Mike Williams.
Mike Will.
Give Mariota that wide receiver.
Mike Will made it. They really got Delaney Walker. They got what's his name? What's his name now, man? Your boy.
Lord DeMarco.
They got DeMarco as running back, and they're just missing good talent at wide receiver.
Yeah, because if they get that number 1 go-to option for Mariota, it opens up the game. Their defense isn't terrible. Could give a little bit of
but then, so what? If you see Marshall Latimore still there number 5, you're gonna ignore that and go for Mike Will at 5.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
The top cornerback could still be available for them at this time. They could either have Jamal Adams or Marshall Latimore at this pick.
I say Mike Williams.
At 5. I think he's the best wide receiver in this draft, but at 5, that's a lot. But okay, cool. All right.
Who do you say?
I'll say go for if Latimore's available, go for Lattimore.
Okay. So right now off the board is Myles Garrett, Solomon Thomas, Leonard Fournette,
Jamal Adams.
Where did you put Jamal Adams?
3.
To the Bears?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I said trade back.
So that's so we've got man as 5s, and then all the players off the board, and you come to the Jets. The Jets need the QB and some sort of defense. Right.
The Jets need everything.
They're another team who needs everything.
I'll put your boy Lattimore there.
Okay.
Just to give Jets fans something to
I've got them as taking Deshaun Watson. At 6. That could happen, and that's a very Jets thing to do. That's a very Jets thing. The same Jets who since Joe Namath haven't had anything close to a franchise QB. They made the AFC Championship twice with Mark Sanchez, but it's just been they've been like second. They're like the Tottenham of New York. Yeah, that's something they've watched the neighbours, the Giants, to succeed, and then they just here struggling like the bomb.
That's
the bomb
actually a good shout. Thinking about it.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson to the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Number 7, the Los Angeles Chargers, LAC.
Smells.
LAC.
Don't like it.
What did they? Okay, cool. If Watson is still available for them, do they take Watson and have him learn behind like Phillip Rivers?
No, there's this other QB, Mitch.
Mitch Kubitsky, what his name is.
Yeah, Mitch. I say they bring him in.
Okay, he's up quarterback. I could go first.
Or
One.
OJ Howard.
Yes, because Finn Gates is on the way out.
Yep.
So OJ Howard.
And you need to give Rivers that get out. That okay, I need.
Yeah.
Because right now with Keyshawn Allen, you don't know if he's going to come back and be the same.
Yeah.
I say bring him in. You've got Melvin Gordon. Gordon. He can still do.
They got a very good secondary.
Exactly.
So but I also say I had Malik Hooker safety going at number 7 to them, which I said like this whole top 10 can change within the next few weeks within the day before the draft. So, but that's where I've got so far. So we go down the board to number 8, the Panthers.
Running back.
Yes.
I think they pick up a running back because...
So if Fournette's available, they take Fournette.
Ooh.
I got them a second OJ Howard to replace Kirk Olsen on the way out.
Ooh. I'm thinking if they somehow get... Imagine a Fournette Newton tandem.
That would be mad.
Because Stewart he's a bruiser, but he's not a three-down back. That's going to change.
He can share the load.
I mean, he's got Kelvin Benjamin. I do say they do need some help in that secondary.
They
because, losing
Norman. Josh Norman.
It affected him more than
everyone predicted. It affected him more than their GM predicted. And that's another thing. When GMs get it wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I say if
we don't need to do. We need to have like a proper GM podcast where we break down what a GM actually does. So our listeners.
Yeah, but I mean, we could do that. We could drop snippets every. I think we drop some snippets for them.
Okay.
Every so often.
We might do another pub or bar recording. We get drunk. We get drunk when we talk football.
Me, alcohol and NFL just don't.
We've got this.
I made a bet that day. Actually, you know what? For my own integrity, I am not going to repeat.
We made this Lost Takes podcast where we just talked NFL, and was it actually when I listened back to it, it was a decent podcast.
I think we need to do it again.
And I think my battery just died. Okay, cool. At number 9, we've got the Bengals.
Where did they go?
They could use more of like a younger another piece in the secondary or another edge rusher to help what's the name in the middle.
I didn't think they needed an offensive option.
I thought they got bloody Adriel Jeremiah Green.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've got weapons on offense. Edge rusher on another cornerback.
Their offensive issue can be fixed in the second.
They succumbed to injuries a lot last season. So an edge rusher or quarterback, they got Pat-Man Jones as a cornerback. He's I think old.
Yeah.
He old man. Do you know what I mean? He's even still with them. They released him.
I think he's still with them.
Yeah, he old. So
I say with the Bengals with Pac-Man Jones and Burford, they just need to get their heads.
Burford's one of my favorite players ever. I love that guy. I love nutcases. I love one of my female acquaintances says the reason why I like him so much because I'm a crazy ass myself. But what can I say? But number 10.
I just had to give you that.
Why did you give me that look for? I didn't say her name. I just said, But anyway, number 10. I think this is the most interesting pick for me. The Bills. The Bills got the 10th pick. The Bills they got rid of Rex Ryan.
Thank God.
No, I like Rex, man.
Another guy that can't be a head coach.
Yeah, but I like Rex though. He's been done dirty by two GMs. I don't know, more than so many GMs. He gets done dirty by GMs all the time. The GMs just don't share his defensive vision.
Right, but think about it. He was a defensive coach, yet the Bills did better on offense and defense.
I know.
And the year before,
but he had all his top defensive pieces all went down to injury. But obviously, it's an unforgiving business where there's no room for excuses. But this is the interesting pick. They could have anything. at least they can get another QB. They can get Deshaun Watson and put in my hand Tyrod Taylor. Because they re-sign Tyrod Taylor, or they can just go for Mike Williams at number 10.
Then would you get rid of Jones then? I was gonna say because they've got Cardell Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh snap! But the thing is, no matter this is the pick where they can't make a bad pick. It's harder to make a bad pick than it is to make a good pick. Do you know what I mean? They can get anyone. People get OJ Howard at 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think they go wide receiver or a tight end.
But to give Watkins another weapon for Watkins. Well,
yeah.
Because
I know you got Watkins, but again, with he had a foot injury last year, be injured, so it's like it's a bit all up in the air.
Did they lose Stephon Gilmore to the Pats?
Oh yeah, they did.
They need a quarterback.
So I guess they go cornerback.
With linebackers, they're fine linebackers. They've got like a core linebacker. They had injuries last season as well, so linebackers are fine. Edge rusher, I don't really think they need an edge rusher per se. They probably need a bit more health and in the secondary, but at the same time, it's a young defense.
Yeah. So I say cornerback. You say cornerback?
Cornerback or wide receiver, I say.
Yeah.
All right, that's our top 10 picks. We're going to sign up with one more section. That section is, if you give me a chance, is for the Browns. I'm only going to finish up with the Browns, I guess.
I mean, what more can we say about the Browns? Garrett 1 and 12. Oof. Trade back.
Trade back to who though?
Trade back
to who? Who wants to go 12? Who's desperate enough from the later?
Someone that's in the 30s.
Cowboys. The Cowboys trade with the Browns to go and probably get either an edge rusher or a cornerback.
Cornerback because my stupid Cowboys decided to trade. We tried to let go of.
That's 4 times you said the Cowboys.
Yeah. Try to call me the English Skip Bayless.
Mm-hmm. It's asinine. It's preposterous. It's unimaginable. How dare you, Skip? How dare you? No, I'm chatting. Go on.
Because he's not uploading this video, the look I'm giving you right now.
Because we're not uploading it.
Says
who?
Not uploading it.
Anyway.
I don't know. We'll have a think about that for our next one. I mean, probably see because when is the draft?
It's 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Ooh, so probably do a recap.
Yeah, they're definitely going to do a recap.
Definitely going to do a recap. Because, and like you said, the way that things happen with the NFL, someone who's number one today on this lovely sunny day, in a couple of days they may trade that back and get 4 picks, and then it all flips up and it all changes. So it will be interesting. I believe teams are going to focus more on their needs in this particular, because there's no generational superstar talent.
No, the only generational talent is Myles Garrett, and it's hard to call edge rushers like the defensive ends generational because they're just that defensive ends. You know what I mean? Generational. Yeah. His addition alone won't change the team. Do you know what I mean? Generational is more likely to be a quarterback and then even a running back as opposed to be any other positions. It's hard to be generational when you're outside the positions because when you're a quarterback or running back, a lot more space on your shoulders to carry the team, as opposed to when you're a defensive end where you're just literally just there to do a job for that particular position. Do you know what I mean?
Clowney, what?
But he's not really generational talent. He's a phenomenal talent, but I want to call him generational.
True.
Do you know what by himself hasn't got to the Texans past the first round of the playoffs?
Clowney did that.
Yeah, Clowney did. See?
Clowney beat up those Raiders.
Only because the Raiders had no Derek Carr.
And their starting left tackle was
down, yeah.
The one game he missed was that game against the Texans.
The one game, yeah. And the one game he had a slight lapse in concentration and cost the team the quarterback. I'm not blaming on him, by the way. It was a freak injury, but that's the fine lines. Do you know what I mean? So Texans, you can't. They haven't been trying. What has he done? It hasn't really come close to turning them into, a championship contender. But well, that was our podcast special. Oh, no, a draft. What am I talking about? I haven't even started drinking and I'm talking shit. That's our NFL pre-draft special. Our first video podcast. So if you're listening to this on audio, it's your chance to listen to this and watch this on video. So
debatable.
Relatively, I'm going to upload this. You can find us at BTW Online. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Mixcloud. We are at at BTW online on Twitter. Myself, you don't want to know my new at, for them old ones. Rilla, King _ Rilla, RELA. Wait, man. Shout out to all our listeners. Shout out to our fellow podcasts. What do you want to call them? Podcast people? Podcast friends?
Creators?
Geniuses. I want to shout out to all my baby mamas. You know, I love you all.
That's why I cut.
I love you all, each and every one of you. You know, I love you, my kids. I love you all. No, I'm joking. Hey, I'm out.